Paul, I can't, Paul. I can't
I know.
inject Ken Dorsey into my veins.
I
right
know.
now.
In case, for those of you that missed it, if you were too busy breaking your hand against the wall or picking up the fragments of your television screen off your living room floor, Ken Dorsey went absolutely apeshit, smashing and crashing to the point where he actually incidentally, through the carnage, knocked over the camera that was on him through the carnage. So listen, right? It was a game full of emotions. The fact that RG3, the fact that RG3 posted that Miami's the best team in the AFC now, that he could kiss my ass because Miami barely beat an absolutely washed out Buffalo team.
I retweeted it. I said, does that make the Colts the second best team in the league?
That's right.
Like, come on,
hey,
RG3.
Listen, we're still a better team than Miami. Hey, Corey, what's up? We're still a better team than Miami. We need to heal and move on. Miami basically beat our practice squad. Totally true, right? Like, what honestly, like, once you start looking at the road of attrition that happened, Amar, you and I have talked about this for a long time. Football is a game of attrition, right?
Yes.
But if you looked at our inactives, I was laughing. Some of our inactives are better than most starters in the NFC West, right? I was like, well, the NFC West would love these guys.
Oh. Welcome, hashtag Nation. If you're just joining us, we decided to talk about Ken Dorsey's explosion after the game, which was freaking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
But as I have to say at the beginning of every show, this is a hashtag sports presentation of the Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills postgame in association with DeanBlundell.com and sponsored by Mr. Rogers Homes. He will be in the description of this video. As always, you can find all of our socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook down below. And all of our episodes go to iTunes and Spotify. So if you want to listen to it there, that's phenomenal. Paul, I can't stop. Am I upset about the game? Yes. I'm upset about the game. Nate Geary, from GR Nate Geary.
Yeah.
He decided to tweet out, Bills went into week 3 down both starting safeties, both starting corners, both starting defensive tackles, and their starting center, and left down their backup center, starting right guard, starting right tackle, third corner, and fifth wide receiver.
Right.
Miami Dolphin fans, if you happen to be tuning in,
you're welcome.
The Buffalo Bills were playing at guys that worked at UPS last week, and you guys only beat them by 2. And if McKenzie gets down or any type of thing like that, I mean, we'll get to the refs. That dude walked the damn ball to the hash mark.
Mario,
we just tell right now.
Mario, I can't help but feel slightly responsible for this because I posted a short that called Tua ass, right?
He still is.
He still is ass. So, first off, I can't be frustrated about Tua, having what looked like a head injury and then being allowed to re-enter the game. I'm not mad that Tua was allowed to re-enter the game. Tua had absolutely no impact on this game, in my opinion. Right?
No. What I need, you to do,
a quarterback could have done what he did.
I need you to. I mean, when Bridgewater came in, then I got a little nervous. But what I need you to do, and I need somebody in the chat, please, for the love of God, somebody call Tua and tell him that he beat the Bills this week because I don't even think he knows.
Yeah,
did you see him on the sideline? He's like,
well, did you? You saw the justification for that, right? Did you hear?
His back?
We retweeted it. Yeah, we retweeted it. So word came out that he had a back issue. His back was spasming after a quarterback sneak, and then conveniently after Matt Milano pushed him while he was in the air after letting go of a pass, which in my opinion is not roughing the passer, right? It's all in the same action. If he were on the ground, maybe different, right? I don't see this all as the same action. In any case, he hits his head going back in the turf, gets up, has no earthly idea where he is, and then magically he's allowed to re-enter the game because really he was stumbling because it was his back spasming. I don't know I've been at enough bars on Chippewa at 3:00 in the morning to know what not with it looks like. And normally, when your back spasms, your head's not doing one of these, right?
You're
not doing the bobblehead, right?
He looked like he took a left hook from Deontay Whitner, and he was,
yeah,
dude. That is not a back spasm. I'm sorry, and I did have to put Garn. He said I broke Mario. He messaged on here.
Yeah.
Sir, are you a Bills player? No, but I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Well, I mean, that's what you needed to be on the Bills offensive line this week was, do you have a pulse?
Don't feel bad.
Are you above 300 pounds?
Yeah.
Then come on, big guy. We got a game to play.
Paul, obviously a lot of Buffalo Bills fans, from the standpoint, because we're going to try to go through all these points.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of you're 2-1, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're now 0-1 in the division, and you are 1-1 in your conference. That's the big thing for me. I'm not mad about this loss at all. And you know what? Bills Mafia and Hashtag Nation, you guys can get upset about this, that, and the third. A missed field goal, obviously.
Yep.
They didn't get a chance. They didn't get a chance to spike the ball at the end of the game. They still could have won this game, and how unbelievable that would have been.
Right, and that goes back to the failed spike to end the first half, and I want to talk about that real briefly because there's a lot of confusion around the rules there, and I saw some stuff on Twitter that was it's just inaccurate. So I want to talk about the failed spike at the end of the first half because Buffalo could have spiked the ball, attempted a field goal, right?
Yes,
because that changes the end of the game complexion here, right?
It does, 100%.
Right. So I know Bass missed one field goal, but he didn't get to attempt this one. And whether that would have changed the game or not, obviously we don't know, but the ruling I think is kind of important, right? So Allen goes to take the snap to spike the ball before the end of the first half, kind of flubs the handoff, right? And instead turns, throws the ball to Diggs, and time runs out, right? Looked like a fake spike, turns, throws the ball to Diggs. So the ruling there is that even if he fumbles the ball upon handoff, he could still spike it forward because it's not intentional grounding. If he turns and throws it, right? Like there was a game in college and, where this happened, the quarterback turned
Oklahoma
and threw it. I think it might've been, right? Threw it and threw it backwards. Well, that's a backward pass. That's not a fumble, right?
Yeah.
It would not be intentional grounding because the intent is to throw the ball to stop the clock. And there's no pressure coming at you, right? Intentional grounding is you are, when you spike the ball, the rules are just a little bit different. He could have fumbled the snap and then still shoveled it into the ground forward, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just as long as he maintained possession first and shoveled it
he had
forward.
a tight end on his left. He literally could have bobbled it and threw it right at
he also
Dawson Knox's feet.
He also could have thrown it in the stands above Diggs's head. Right? Like all these things are possible.
He could have pulled the varsity blues. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. None of that is what happened. Right.
No.
And instead he just completes the pass to Diggs. Diggs fails to get out of bounds in time. And that's that. Right. So, I mean,
he had
options. If you saw anything about the rules there, just as long as he's not spiking the ball backwards, it would never be intentional grounding. Whatever you saw on social media, that wouldn't have been accurate.
Yeah. Hey, what up, Jack Daniels? That's your second troll comment. You're amazing.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. Oh, you're so cute.
Yeah.
It's funny. You know what? I love the fact that like people will come in to post-game shows when like you have an 8-win team, right? You're 3-0. You got to play Thursday night now. You're going to lose that game. So now you're going to be 3.
The Miami Dolphins.
There's no if Miami was really a good football team, they should have put 35 on the Bills.
They really should have.
Right,
really
you should put 35-40 on the Bills.
But injuries, guys. No, I don't think that noisy. I don't think the Bills did choke. You had, when you want to talk about communication across the line, these are NFL players. You want to talk about communication across the line. You want to do about this. You want to have consistency. You want to have continuity and stuff like that. You can't lose as many players as you did or prior to this and still try to maintain that continuity. You're playing with 2 rookie corners and 2 safeties for the first time in 5 years. And other than that 46-yard bomb to Waddle, what were Hill and Waddle were 5 catches for 89 yards up until that point.
Right.
And I will venture to say
great job. That's a great job.
That is a great job. So I will tell Mr. Jack Daniels that by the second time that these 2 teams play each other, I will say that Miami will not even have a winning record because they are abysmal. with that guy back there.
Hey, Matthias hits us with the super chat and says, so in the end, we had so many opportunities to win this game and still blew it. How about 1st and goal at the 1 and being in shotgun? But we've seen Buffalo do this a lot, right? Even in 3rd and short, 4th and short scenarios, this is a pattern, right? We've seen it for 3 weeks now. It's definitively a pattern. It's what they want to do. Buffalo is going to throw the football. That's what they plan on doing all the time. And Miami gave Buffalo everything under the sun within the first 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And truthfully speaking, that made the last 2 drives really challenging for Buffalo because they were on the field for so long. Those drives were long, man. Those receivers, that team was gassed. They were just straight gassed.
It was rough. It was rough. Like, I mean, Noisy Boy, I stand by that. I don't think that the Miami Dolphins have a very good team. I mean, you can't think about it. Well, let's just put it this way. How good are the Buffalo Bills then? If you think Miami is a good football team, they're 3-0. I understand that. They beat the Patriots. They came back against the Ravens and they just beat the Bills today with a very, very depleted roster by 2 points. Right. If you think that they are a very, very good team, like Paul said, they should have hung like a 50 burger on this Bills defense today.
Right.
They didn't. And they couldn't get off the field. Bills had a 20-play drive. 20. I haven't seen that in a long, long time, Paul.
Sure. Yeah, that's not what this team does. Yeah, that's
that offense was gassed. That offense was gassed. They had, I will say this: the Bills had a bunch of opportunities to win the game today, and they just didn't. And is it upsetting as a Bills fan? Yes, it's upsetting. But if they would have won today, the Bills would have probably thought that they're invincible. You know what I mean? Like, you lose all of these players that you have. True, Miami had a few injuries too. But can we talk about Melvin Ingram's kick to the midsection of Josh Allen?
Yeah, that was a little. Yeah, there was some chippy nonsense in this game.
I mean, what the hell's going on?
Wilkins grabs Allen in the hoo-ha, in the pile, and Allen gets a personal, 15.
Well, what I didn't understand is that Wilkins goes straight helmet to helmet on Knox, and then later they decide to throw a flag on Johnson for hitting Edmonds in the end zone.
Receiver. Yeah.
Well, here's the craziest part about that they have to know. If Edmonds catches that ball, that's not a defenseless receiver hit.
Nope.
100% it's not. So you don't throw the flag there. They were so horribly inconsistent today that it was frustrating. I saw Shaq Lawson try to run the right edge. The left tackle literally went like this. And did one of these. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. You're not allowed to do that. And then on the final drive, now they decide to call a hold on Quisenberry.
Whoa. And I didn't get to see a replay on the hold, right?
I didn't see the hold.
And admittedly, with as many offensive linemen as they piecemealed together for this game, I would have expected to see more offensive line penalties from Buffalo, right? Just because they were putting their foot on the gas and bringing a lot of pressure because they felt that they could overpower this beat up offensive line, and they were able to, right?
Yeah.
The Bills still had almost 500 yards of total offense, right? How many first downs did Miami have? Don't look. If you don't know,
13.
Just guess. 15 in total. They got 12 on their own, 3 by penalty. So 15 in total. Buffalo had 21 just passing. Bills had 31 first downs. They had twice as many first downs.
And we want to say thank you for Stefan. Let's appreciate how we didn't trade away Poyer. I would trade him tomorrow. I'll trade him tomorrow.
Well, you're a little sauced up because of that Rachel Bush tweet.
Rachel Bush, stop it. The game's over. You lose, and she decides to tweet out, I think people need to really appreciate how hard it is to play safety in the NFL and respect those that play really, really well. I'm like,
why? Pass over 20 yards. One
pass over 20 yards.
Tua
finished 13 of 18 for 186. What do we? He threw for under 200 yards in the NFL in an NFL game.
I know.
What are we doing?
In a goal line scenario, right? When the game is on the line and right before you bounce a punt off your own protection guy's ass, you have the most unoriginal get out of the goal line scenario with the game on the line, right? Like, that is a worst case scenario for you. You are just up 4 points. You've got the ball in the 2. You can't get out of your own end zone. You've got Waddle and Hill, 2 of the fastest receivers in the league. and you're not
can't throw a
using
slant
them.
to them.
You're not using them to try and get out of the end zone. Like,
at
that point, Buffalo's got 2 timeouts. Like, you know what's going to happen here. You're not going to be able to run time off the clock. So, all right, on third down, why aren't you trying on second down? Why aren't you trying to give them the ball behind the line of scrimmage?
He doesn't trust Tua. He doesn't trust him.
I guess not. Right.
Especially in that defense was gassed up at that point. Nautica, thank you so much for the super chat. As we guys, the Williams Syndrome Foundation. This is our charity for the 2022 season. So all the super chats will be going to there. He says, can we talk about the refs crawling to the line? Yeah, on that last field goal. I mean, there's a lot of mechanics that have to go into that, right? In order to get the ball was tackled
snapped.
with 9 seconds left. You could have clocked the ball.
I agree.
You literally could have clocked the ball. It was crazy. And I want to get to this, and I want to put this up here for a second. Stefan, who just put the super chat. I'm about to go after you now, Stefan. Okay, you ready? Here I come. Let's not pretend that Poyer or Hyde have never given up a deep ball on a 3rd and long.
Right.
These past 5 years. We've seen it happen a couple times to this Buffalo Bills defense.
And admittedly, it was a nice play design. That play worked exactly how Hyde and Poyer probably would have played it anyway, right? Hill drags Hamlin over. Johnson's got to stay up. Like, it was good play design, right? It was a good play design. And if Miami was really good enough at pulling plays like that off, then they should have been doing it all day. But they're not capable of doing it because they're just not a very good football team. So that was the one bullet in the gun. That was the secret sauce. And the reason you only saw it one time was because that was all they were going to be able to execute it.
Yeah.
Right. I can't be mad about that play because I don't blame Hamlin or Johnson for the way they played it. I actually agree that the way they played it was totally fine. It was a very good play design versus the defense that was called. It was good
Matthias coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Matthias, 25 months on the practice squad. You're going to lose your practice squad eligibility, Matthias. I'm telling you. You've been on the practice squad for too much. They give up a Hail Mary. We understand that. What was the other one they said? They play them in 100-degree heat. Yeah, someone was talking about this is just like the win game from last year against the Patriots. It's like only the elements could beat the Bills. Like, what is I love this quote. Seriously, Demco. I don't think this is the first time they come in. LOL. Bottom line is you lost. No one counts starts, only wins and losses. Do you know that Paul and I don't play for the Bills? Like, do you guys know that we don't play for the Bills? Like, we just kind of talk about them and have a lot of fun doing it and have a great community here. I don't play for them. I didn't lose today.
No. No, I'm going to sleep just fine.
What happened to the team I cheer for? Yeah. It's awful for them.
I'm going to sleep just fine. And admittedly, right, this could have gone way, way, way worse given the condition of the roster, the way that it is right now. This could have gone way, way worse. And if I were Miami, I wouldn't be in other teams, post-game shows talking about how you won because if you're a good football team, you should have put a banged up football team away. Bills are a very good football team. They're still a better football team than Miami, even in this condition, in my opinion.
By their rationale,
1 out of 100 is still 1, right? So I get that. But the reality is the next time Buffalo sees them, it's going to be a horror show. Buffalo is going to put 50 on them.
It's not going to be pretty.
This is going to be ugly. Like, enjoy it now, Dolphins fans, because what you're going to get next time is it's going to be ugly. Ken Dorsey absolutely lost his shit and after the game. There was a lot that we could talk about play by play, and I know we're going to get there, but I am comfortable sleeping tonight knowing that the next time I see Miami, it'll be in Orchard Park, and it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a complete and total bloodbath, and I'm good with that.
It's not going to be pretty for them. No, the Buffalo Bills are just a much better put together team when they are 100%. Mm-hmm. Like, if the team that took the field against the Rams played down in Miami today, it would have been over by halftime.
Right.
It really would have been over by halftime.
Yeah.
No, it's you know what though, but I understand this is the nature of people and it's the nature of sports and how people act and people react to certain things. You're never going to get a scenario like this again. The biggest crowning moment for the Miami Dolphins this year is going to be that they could say that in week 3 of the 2022 season,
Yeah.
they beat the eventual Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to be able to say. I mean, it is what it is. There were missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Matthias comes in. I really like how everyone quits on us now. Maybe it was a good one in the long run. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not mad about the loss because I knew going in with the roster, you lost more players today and you still were able to be in a chance to win the game at the end of it. You know what I mean? So, I was surprised they were able to hang on to the ball for as long as they did.
Time of possession, Buffalo had the ball for 40 minutes. That's crazy town.
Who does Miami play next week? Who do they play? They play on a short week, don't they?
They do. They play Thursday night. Let me pull it up. I'll tell you in a second. Miami plays. Oh, it doesn't matter. They suck. Miami plays the Bengals.
The Bengals? Oh, God.
They're at Cincinnati.
They're going to get rolled.
Cincinnati looked pretty good today. Cincinnati looked pretty good.
Mario, here's that loss you predicted. Also cut it out with the Super Bowl talk. Am I not allowed to say that the Buffalo Bills are still favorites to win the Super Bowl? Now, wait. Y'all bringing that energy in here. I understand it. I love it. It's great. However, are the Kansas City Chiefs any less of a football team? There's a team that should be worried about what's going on. The fact that they lost to the Colts. And they weren't as injury depleted as the Bills were today.
No.
And they lost to the Colts.
Yep.
They lost to the Colts, guys.
It happens. Listen, Tampa right now is losing 14-3 to the Packers, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even know who's playing wide receiver for the Packers today. They're all hurt.
I love how Watkins went to IR. That was amazing.
Yeah. Shocker
for me. Yeah.
Shocker. Stop me if you've heard this before.
Stop me if you've heard this.
So, listen. We can get, I think Sean's right. Thank you, Sean, for sponsoring the post-game show. Mr. Rogers Holmes, everything in the description. Well, on a positive note, we do not need to worry about going undefeated. Listen, we lost to the Jags last year. This is fine, right? You're not gonna win them all, right? I'm told this is fine.
Right? Yeah, the thing about this that upsets me about it. I mean, I would be in even better spirits if this was an NFC team.
Sure.
To be honest with you, if they were this injury depleted and went down and played like Tampa, and they lost like this today, I would be in even better spirits because I look at this as a marathon, not as a sprint.
Right.
So if you're sitting there, you're saying the Buffalo Bills now, if you want to logistically break this down, the Buffalo Bills are 0-1 in division. That's the thing that I'm upset about. Yeah. The Bills are now 1-1 in the conference. That's something I'm upset about.
Sure.
So we always talk about it here on Hashtag Sports, and you guys know they've been around here, enough. You got to take care of the division first, and you got to take care of the conference first. If you're going to lose a game, let it be a NFC game because it doesn't affect your seeding and everything that goes on in the AFC. So those are the two things. If I had to say that I was upset about, that would be something that I'm upset about what happened with the Bills today. Okay, you're now 0-1 in the division, and you got to try to climb out of that. And it's just, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and to be honest with you, Mar, when you look at the next 3 games Buffalo has, Baltimore was absolutely crazy today. Lamar was all over the field. You got Pittsburgh after that, and you got Kansas City. You're in Kansas City. Right.
Yeah.
So you're in Baltimore, at home against Pittsburgh, and then at Kansas City, and then you're home against Green Bay. So your next 4 games, losing to the Dolphins is tough because the next 4 games are not easy football games, right? And admittedly, the Dolphins of all of those, besides the Steelers, are probably the easiest of the opponents, right? Out of these last 5 games, the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Packers, you'd hands down expect to win the Dolphins and Steelers game because Baltimore is going to be tough, Kansas City is going to be tough, and Green Bay is going to be tough. So dropping one of the Dolphins means that you got to get right for those next 4 games, right? Because you're probably going to beat the Steelers, but that Ravens game is going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game. Lamar's all over the place right now. He's playing great football. Hey. Quarterback in a contract year. Who knew they'd play well? And right, so again, I'm not super upset about this game, but in context, the next 4 games, you might start hearing narrative that Buffalo isn't the team everybody thought. Well, you scored 72 points combined in the first 2 weeks, right? Of course, everybody thinks you're gonna roll every single team that's put in front of you, but the fact is, you got 3 really good football teams out of the next 4 coming up.
Yeah.
So the narrative may shift, and I think as Bills fans, you gotta just prepare yourself for that. Get thicker skin there.
Miami fan came in with a very interesting comment. I love the fact that we are a Bills channel and we got Miami Dolphins fans just coming in to troll. He said, "How conceited are you all? Like getting a W in the NFL is easy. What about the 5 interceptions Allen almost threw? It was a good game, competitive, and good game and competitive." That's why. I mean, it's one thing to pick off Tua in practice, but when Allen's throwing lasers, like Paul, what'd you say when Milano dropped the interception?
Oh yeah,
wait. The Bills dropped some interceptions too. My bad.
Yeah, that Milano's was an easy pick 6, right? He walks into the end zone.
He walks right in.
Yeah,
what did you say though?
The comment that I made was, I forgive Matt Milano for dropping that interception. Not all MLB catchers can catch a knuckleball either, right? It's just kind of some shade at Tua for the fact that he's clearly supposed to be right-handed.
Someone needs to tell him that. And after today, he needs to. But no, Paul. Let's get to a serious note. That something that I think the Dolphin fans and the Bills fans in here, Dolphins fans and Bills fans can agree with. If anything happened to Tua in that second half, the NFL, I think, would have been crucified.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I don't think he should have played.
Back injury.
I really don't think he should have played at all.
I don't think Tua was a factor in this game. And I know it's wild to say as because he was the opposing quarterback, but I don't think he was really a factor in this game. And because of that, you have to find a way to justify what the NFL did in allowing him to come back. And by saying that it was a back injury, I think is awfully convenient, right? Because NFL teams do some pretty disgusting things to win football games. And if the back injury storyline is true, then, I'm glad he was granted the opportunity to come back. But the likelihood that was total nonsense is pretty prevalent. And that's dangerous. That's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think he should have came back at all. If you want to look at it
whether the Bills would have won that game or not, it is irrelevant to that point. His health is first and foremost, and it was dangerous for him to come back into the football game.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at it, the Miami Dolphins had 4 possessions in the second half, 2 3-and-outs, a 4-and-out, and the touchdown drive. But I really don't think he should have been out there at all. I really I don't know what the evaluation process was. And to your point, NFL teams will do some pretty nasty stuff, nasty things to win a football game, and it's sickening. I hope Tua is all right. I hope that he gets evaluated properly this week, especially on a short week. I would not be surprised if Teddy Bridgewater was starting on Thursday because of Tua's back. But you never want to see those things, at all in the games. You never want to see those things.
Hey, Daniel Garies. I respect Garies a lot. He does a lot of work for us here. Admin on the channel says NFLPA is launching an investigation into why Tua was allowed back in the game. Listen, I think that's all the proof you need to say
that's great.
Something smells a little fishy. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
But here's the craziest part. All these things come out after the game. No one ever changes the score of the game or whatever. Like that helmet to helmet on Dawson Knox.
Man, we have the best people that follow this channel. Thank
you
so much.
So freaking hysterical.
Thank you so much.
Can you read that off, please?
Yeah, sure. So, this goes into a comment. Naveed, I'll just put it on the channel. Naveed says that should cost them a draft pick, talking about Tua being allowed to re-enter the game because now the NFLPA is going to investigate that. And then Davis followed it up with they already lost some picks, the draft picks for trying to replace Tua. So,
oh my God.
Love it. World-class organization there.
World-class
organization.
Yeah, there. For an organization that has been under the microscope this offseason, you go and do that and bring them back in. Like like I said, we said at the onset, Paul, I've had a bad back before. I don't stumble out like I'm a drunk man coming out of a bender.
Yep.
That's what he looked like.
Sure.
So,
hey, let's talk about excuse me, let's talk about the end of the game a little bit, right?
Yeah. That final drive.
Yeah, let's talk about that final drive. So first,
I knew it wasn't over. I tweeted it out. I got to go, guys. As soon as the Buffalo Bill, I mean, let's talk about it. Number one, Allen's pass to McKenzie that should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It seemed like he almost double clutched it, but he did something from his Wyoming days. He had such a wide base by the time he threw that ball.
Yeah.
And he looked like he double clutched it and threw it into the ground. Awful throw. They were looking at his hand afterward. I'm sitting there going, Bill still got 2 timeouts with $1.50 left. I was like,
on the 2-yard line.
If you get a stop, you're good. And I don't know what, I think it was Trent Green in the booth. He's like, you could take a safety here. I'm like, are you an idiot? You take a safety, a field goal beats you. These guys kick it from 55 yards, 60 yards all the time.
Yeah.
So, they get the ball back. They're on that final drive. What part of that drive do you want to talk? You want to talk about how they decide to now call the holding, or what do you want to talk about? It just in general?
Yeah, no, we just talk about it in general. The hold penalty obviously is sort of an underplayed dynamic because that takes you out of reasonable field goal range, so that was a big one. I didn't get to see a replay on the hold, so I'm not sure. I saw Quisenberry get his block knocked off in that play, right? So okay. But again, I didn't actually see the hold or replay on the hold, I should say. And McKenzie on the reception, right? I know it's a broken play, but if you're McKenzie, I understand he's trying to get out of bounds, right? The football player in you says, we have no timeouts. We have to get out of bounds, right? You're literally caught it between the hashes, right? Don't you initiate contact so that way you get down, right? And then you spike the ball. Isn't that the play?
Yeah,
you initiate contact, because if McKenzie dives, clock's still moving, right? So you got to initiate contact and get down, and then.
Well, no, it's different now because if he gives himself up, if he dives and gives himself up, they're gonna blow it down. I think McKenzie was, it'll be analyzed all week, and it could be analyzed all week. It's fine. You're an athlete out there. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. Do I get down, or do I try to get out of bounds and get a few extra yards so Bass can hit this? And I think he made the decision was he was going to try to get out of bounds, and he realized he couldn't. Then he dove forward, and then immediately gave the ball to the referee with 9 seconds left. And the ref took his Sunday walk to the hash mark, and what happened. I don't understand why there was. I mean, it was on the right hash, Paul. So I don't know if that's not left hash money anymore.
Nope. Hey, right hash was bad luck today, man.
Right hash was bad. Yeah, but I don't understand. It was like, okay, we can complain about the refs, taking the refs out of it. McKenzie was caught between a rock and a hard place. He could have made either decision, and I don't think it would have been. He would have either set the Bills up for like a 60-some yard field goal, or he got a few more yards, and it would have been an easier attempt. But you're splitting hairs with 5 yards there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what were you going to do? You're going to run out of bounds? Cool. If you could have gotten out of bounds, but you were in the middle of the field when you caught that ball. I think Tyreek's the only guy that's getting out of bounds when he catches the ball in the middle of the field.
Well, he'd have to catch the ball today to have made a play like that. So, Tyreek was a ghost today. Total ghost.
He was.
I loved
2
it.
for 33.
Against that secondary.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think most Dolphin fans and people that watch this game are going to be very, very they're going to be very, very interested to see. I got to put that up there, Paul. You're a wrestling fan too.
Any wrestling reference, Mario's gonna.
I'm gonna gravitate toward. You know that.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that can't be underplayed here today. If Tua and the Dolphins and this new offense that they had that exploded for 28 points against the Ravens is for real, and they're here to stay, this and that, you would have seen a much more gaudy stat line against 2 rookie corners and 2 safeties playing together for the first time in a meaningful game. That's one of the things. Number 2, Paul, I want to go into what we talked about last night when we were reporting the Micah Hyde injury for the season. We said that more of the onus and more of the pressure was going to be on Milano and Edmonds today. What did you see out of Milano and Edmonds that either you liked, you didn't like? Did they step up to the challenge today against Miami?
I mean, they had less than 200 yards of total offense.
And should have had a pick six.
Yeah. It's hard to complain, right? What they have? Oh, I'm sorry, 212 yards of total offense. Sorry, got to give them that 12 yards. Yeah, 212 yards of total offense today. I think they did a great job, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing to complain about here. As banged up as that defense was, the truth of the matter was the defense really wasn't the issue today. It was all the attrition across the offensive line just made for a really hard game. Gabe Davis was clearly gassed out. Diggs was clearly gassed out at the end of the game. McKenzie was having cramps in the fourth quarter. Kumaro, you lost early to an ankle injury.
Yeah.
The only Shakur was inactive. The cabinets were empty.
You just look at the inactives for today. Morse, Shakir, who else? Oliver and Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had, like you said earlier, the inactives today for Buffalo would start on 30 teams.
Yeah, sure would. Sure would. Yeah, it's a great point here. Garn says 11 different Buffalo Bills players caught passes today. Yeah.
Well, Josh Allen threw 63 times today. Completed 42 passes.
They held the ball for 40 minutes.
About six of those he threw away. So he was really like 42 for 57.
Mm-hmm. And did throw some dangerous passes, right?
There were a bunch of passes. He forced a few. I understand that.
But Miami did something that we haven't seen teams be able to do against Buffalo, and they took away everything outside of 7 yards, right? There was nothing from 7 yards back, right? And that's what happens when you pay for the secondary that Miami is paid for. They spent a lot of money in that secondary. That's what they expect, right? They want the pass rush. They're going to bring pressure, and they want the secondary just to be able to hold up what they did. And they took a really dangerous passer in Josh Allen. By the way, he threw for 400 yards today, and gave it to him 7 yards at a time. And there was a point where Buffalo clearly was just willing to accept that. But the entire first half, they were not willing to accept anything under 10 yards an attempt. And in the second half, you saw them make that concession. But the fact of the matter is, you can't give up the ball on the goal line, right? Like Buffalo did that. You gave Miami the ball at the goal line. Like, come on, gotta be better.
I saw a bunch of plays today in the game where if the O-line would have held up an extra second and a half, he had second level routes that were opening up. He didn't have those today, which is the reason why Singletary had 9 catches.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what the hell were the Dolphins doing on that Moss 40-yard run? Like, Moss isn't supposed to run away from anybody.
Well, I don't think they were anticipating it.
He just tore ass down the sideline. I'm like, what is this?
Speaking of tearing ass, Sean says, out of curiosity, how many miles per hour do you think that punt that hit the defender in the ass was? He didn't even flinch. Listen, when you're in Miami and you're on a team that bad, getting your ass kicked is not really all that foreign to you when you sign with the Dolphins. You're like, okay, bend over, here it comes. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Hey, listen, they've gotten their ass kicked for decades, right? Taking a punt off the ass is far from the weirdest thing that's happened at Hard Rock Stadium. It's a fact. It's just a fact. Devin Singletary had a career day receiving, which is terrifying that he was your leading receiver. 9 receptions, 78 yards, and 1 touchdown. That is terrifying.
Who's that?
Devin Singletary.
Oh, yeah. And it's followed by McKenzie for 7 for 76, and you had Diggs 7 for 74.
Go back to a couple games ago. We talked about how do you beat Josh Allen, and the answer was make him get the ball to the running back. That's how you beat Josh Allen. And
no, you said make them run 25 times.
Well, I said make them. I did say let them run the ball all game if they want to, but effectively getting the ball in the hands of your running back. That's how you beat Buffalo, right? Because the running backs just simply aren't dynamic enough to take over a game.
I saw someone talking about. We'll get back to that. The running backs. I saw someone talking about today. They said, "Listen, if the Buffalo Bills can't have shade in September in Miami, then Miami doesn't get heaters in December." Okay. Once again, from Matthias coming in, is Morse so important pre-snap? I think of all the losses you had today of players, he was probably the biggest one. Because you had that failed snap at the, Dominic ended up scoring anyway, but you had that failed snap, the exchange between Van Rotten and Allen. Mm-hmm. He was getting kind of pushed around there. Van Rotten was getting pushed around there a little bit.
And then you lose Van Rotten,
and then you lose Van Rotten, center comes in. Mance comes in.
Yep.
Your entire middle to the right part of your line, it was all new.
Right. Yeah, it was a tough scenario to be in. Right. That's a tough scenario to be in. And again, thank you to Matthias for always supporting via Super Chats. All Super Chats are going to the Williams Syndrome Foundation today. That is the charity that we are sponsoring for the 2023 season. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, it's this is one of those games where you just kind of you look at it and say, yeah, I remember that was a tough one. Right. Yeah. It's week 3. It's week 3.
This is the one where
you can change.
This is the one where we look back on the stat sheet in 2-3 years and we're like, how'd they lose that? Mm-hmm. You remember how they lost that? Oh, this was the dumpster fire game. I effectively named it that during the game on Twitter. Yeah. I literally called it the dumpster fire because it was just a shit show. I mean, Blake, the referees, with all the calls was so inconsistent. You have Wilkins do a helmet to helmet, but Johnson gets called at the goal line when that was going to be a third down, I think.
It was. Yeah, it was.
The Buffalo Bills have 31 first downs to Miami's 15. They went 11 of 18 on third down. That's amazing.
Yeah.
To go 11 of 13 and also 2 of 3 on fourth down. They gained 500 yards to Miami's 212. Mm-hmm. They ended up, Miami sacked Allen 4 times. Bills only punted once. So, and I think that was really Buffalo Bills had 7 penalties in this game to Miami's 4, and they fumbled 4 times, losing 1 of them.
So let me ask this, right? Because Serenity now brings up a good point and says, "Hey, Buffalo passed the ball 63 times. That's just dumb." So I think it was pretty obvious early on, and it has been through the first few games this season that when Buffalo runs the ball, it is solely to just run the ball on that particular play. Right. It's really more of their RPO package, right? Designed runs are not a big thing in this offense. It's primarily all off RPO, where the idea is run or pass, right? Like that's the idea. They're going to run or pass it. And there's not many singularly designed runs in this offense. And that gets away from them in games like this. Not that they could on the final drive. Right. Not that they could, but they get down towards the goal line and the effort to even use the running backs was just solely as safety valve.
Yeah. We take a look at it. Moss, McKenzie, and Cook combined for 14 carries.
Yep.
Here's what I'm going to talk about, Paul. It's not all, throwing for 63 times is dumb. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the super chat before I get to my point, though.
Sure.
I'll put it on the screen. Sure. All right. Stefan, Allen took some stupid hits today. He did. I love his winning mentality, but he needs to control his temper in a game like this. I think he's referring to the Wilkins when he just actually ripped his helmet off of him.
Yeah. 2nd and 25 is not where you want to be.
No. You don't want to be there, especially at that point in the game.
Right.
I think of the 63 times, one of the things that the Buffalo Bills want to try to do as far as their running game is concerned is they want to try to catch the edge and they want to try to get outside.
Sure.
How many of those pass plays conservatively, Paul, could you say that Allen just caught the ball and threw it outside to Diggs or McKenzie really quick, right off the bat?
Yeah.
How many times do you think that happened today?
It was pretty prevalent. Yeah, it was pretty prevalent in the offense.
Those are supplementing those outside runs for you.
Yeah.
Where you have guys out on the edge that you think you can win one-on-one matchups and get them out in open space. That essentially, it's not called a run, but it should be.
Right.
It definitely should be a run because if you add those 7 into the mix, those are ways that you could supplement your running game with running style plays, but they count as passes.
But I'm going to challenge you a little bit because when you take a look at how this game ended, right? The Bills in their last 1, 2, 3, 4 drives, and in the last 4 drives, 20 plays for a field goal, 6 plays for a missed field goal, 17 plays, you lost the ball, turnover on downs, right? Your receivers are gassed. They're gassed, right? You need to be able to use your running backs. You have to be able to use your running backs to allow your receivers the opportunity, because you've got 3 running backs on this roster in constant rotation between Cook, Moss, and Singletary. And your receivers could barely stay on the field for the final 2 drives because you don't use your running backs enough in this offense, right? I really hope Dorsey takes that lesson today, because while there were times where you were winning this game and there were times that you were losing this game, the fact is that you use those short passes to supplement the running game. And when you have 17 play drives and 20 play drives that walk away with 0 points or just 3 points, you are killing your ability to play later in the game, right? You have to be able to take the pressure off your wide receivers, take that wear and tear off your wide receivers, put that back on the running backs, because you got 3 of them on your team. And their lack of ability to involve the running backs in the second half is why the receivers were just straight beat at the end of that game. Yeah. That's one of the reasons they were straight beat. So we can complain all day about how the game went, but I hope Dorsey takes that lesson back, because it's a big one. Part of the reason that Diggs was on the sideline every other play, Davis was on the sideline every other play, McKenzie was limping for most of the fourth quarter, right? Was because your running backs are standing there fresh on the sideline, and you've got limping receivers because they've been on the field 75% of the game.
Yeah, he needs to try to balance that out. Obviously, that would probably be one of the disadvantages as far as he goes, with being in the booth with a fan on him, sitting there just chilling. You know what I mean? Because that's what he's doing. He's sitting up there. I'm going to call these plays. I'm going to do this and this, not knowing what is really going on the sideline. I'm not going to put that on Dorsey, but like I said, he is a first-time coordinator, so that's one of the things that you have to take into account. Well, I love that we have so many Miami fans coming in.
It's cute, isn't it?
Where were you guys the last 4 years when we were broadcasting?
I know. It's
so
funny.
Cute. So cute. Remember when you guys couldn't beat the backups when you were 10-5 and couldn't get in the
I love Bills fan. More Dolphins fans in the Bills chat than in your stadium.
Yeah, so I mean,
love you guys.
So Paul, we're at that moment. We're looking forward. By the way, hashtag Nation Bills Mafia, thank you for joining us tonight. Even the Dolphins fans, thank you for coming on in. I mean, you guys, it's fun. I mean, it's just like, I know a lot of guys growing up that would stand behind a big guy and they would just sit behind the big guy and talk shit. That's what you're doing right now, and I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
It shows your character. Looking forward, the Buffalo Bills have to play Baltimore, who, they're always going to be a tough team. That defense is abysmal. If this Dolphins team was able to hang 42 on that defense, the Bills should drop 60. But going into, what positives would you take from this game going into Baltimore? First of all, foremost, I'm going to take this one from you. They got to get healthy. That's the key. Gabe Davis is not 100%.
No, that was clear today.
Yeah,
that was clear. Gabe really struggled to contribute today. Had a lot of opportunity and dropped a touchdown pass, which I still think they should have challenged.
Yeah,
I think you and I probably see that differently, but
absolutely. Other than getting healthy, what are some of the things that this team really needs to do moving forward to, be a little bit more consistent?
I think you got to take the lessons from this game, right? I think they let the game get away from them. I understand they had personnel issues, right? I'm not willing to take that as an excuse because you're all NFL players. I think they'll let this game get away from them. They had a couple bad breaks. Allen fumbled the ball twice early in the game. That's inexcusable. You can't do that, right? And he's got a history of doing that. Every team in the NFL knows that if you get pressure on Allen, there's a 30% chance that football is going to hit the turf, and he did not disappoint Miami there. Right. So you got to cut out those mistakes. Right. I would love to say clock management, but the reality is, I think they did a good job of trying to get as much time off the clock in a goal line situation before the safety. Right. That's what you do. You don't try and score quick there. Right. You're in that situation. You try and wear out the clock, because worst case scenario, you still got him pinned on the goal line. Well, worst case scenario happened and you still had a chance to win the football game. So I'm not mad about that.
I'm confused about McDaniel's decision in that. I know it worked out for him, but if you have, if there's 2.5, 3 minutes left, you have 2 timeouts and the team is inside of your 5. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but you let them score. You have 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning to come back and do it to them.
Mm-hmm. I think
he did not have confidence in his team.
Yeah, they weren't going to score in Buffalo.
Yeah, so that's what they were trying to stop him. But conventionally, what you would try to do is if you have a team like that and or you have confidence in the players that you have to go out there and score and do what you need to do. He trusted his defense more to win that game than he did his offense.
Yep.
And that's why I have, we talk about situational football. That's what we talk about. All right. Matthias, once again. Matthias, are you okay, man? You're gonna run out of money. The Williams Foundation, thanks you for that. You said Reggie looked good today. Why go away from him? I think they tried to go to him a few times.
Well, yeah, they had a real nice play drawn up to him. Safety jumped the route. Great play by Holland to jump the route. Reggie Gilliam is not like much how Knox was used last year, where Knox was not an integral part of the offense, but caught 8 touchdown passes. Right, Gilliam is sort of in that role where he's going to get 2 looks a game, and oftentimes they're going to be situational personnel type looks, right? Where they're going to try and scheme him open. So I wouldn't expect to see him as a regular part of the offense. He'll still get 2-3 targets a game, and oftentimes it'll be that schemed open stuff. They did the same thing with McKenzie a few seasons ago, where whenever McKenzie was on the field, there was plays schemed for him. And I kind of expect to see that with Gilliam moving forward.
I love that Trent Green, whoever called the game today with Trent Green, did their homework.
Yep.
He goes, Reggie Gilliam, they run a levels concept with him and Knox over the middle, and then Allen hits him. It was like in the first quarter. He hits him right over the middle. He goes, not many times do you see a fullback go, in a route like this and this and that. I was like, did you know he used to play tight end? You did not know he used to play tight end?
Just because it says FB next to his name,
exactly.
Like,
they're not. They're being lazy. Okay, so
forever. We shot ourselves in the foot and let it bleed on that 5-mile walk back home. Silver lining, Tua still sucks. I'd say we were slightly overconfident. I personally could take account. I could take accountability for the overconfidence of Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
I personally 100%. Will take accountability for that. It's attrition being what attrition is. The Spencer Brown was out due to illness, right? Early on, he was playing really piss poor at the beginning of the game. I don't know if that had something to do with it. Quisenberry admittedly wasn't awful. Could have been a lot worse, right? Had it been Cody Ford, Josh Allen would have been getting x-rayed earlier than after the game. Allen is in the x-ray room, by the way, for his hand. So let's.
He is. We heard that from the Nation. The Nation hooks us up, man. Hashtag Nation hooks us up. So Paul, what I take away from this game is the same thing I took from the win game last year.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I'm taking nothing out of this game. Yeah. I'm going to take out of this game because here's the reason. The Miami Dolphins were, usually you see teams have a more balanced time of possession and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
We could talk about how this defense was so good today that they only let up 212 yards, but the team only had the ball for 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Miami only had the ball very, very little. Okay. So what do you take from that? The Buffalo Bills had 17 play and 20 play drives. That doesn't happen normally.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you take away from those drives? Well, they gassed themselves on those drives because it was so hot. The amount of backups that you had and the amount of replacement players that came in. Benford left early. You know what I mean? McKenzie and Knox went to the back to get IVs. You know what I mean? It was like, what are you going to take away from this game that will, that you could take into next week? Well, I will say this. Allen is a guy that's going to never give up on any type of game.
Mm-hmm.
He had some throws that he wanted back. He put some throws in harm's way, no doubt. Singletary is still the number one back on this team, but Cook just seems like he's almost like right there from breaking everything and just going 80.
There were some situations I was surprised to see Cook involved out there, right?
Yeah,
there were some down and distance situations that I looked at and said, "Oh, I'm surprised to see Cook there."
Yeah. Jermaine, no. And I'll even put this up here so everyone can see it. He said he forgot to mention Miami beat y'all. The Miami Dolphins did not defeat the Buffalo Bills today. Mm-hmm. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Buffalo Bills today. There was nothing that Miami did that deterred the Bills from doing what they wanted to do. There was nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, wait, you hit a 47-yard post on 2 backup corners or 2 backup safeties and 2 rookie corners. Awesome, man. Good for you. But here's the other thing I'm going to take out of it. I saw what I wanted to see out of Tremaine today. I saw what I wanted to see out of Milano. And I also saw what I wanted to see out of Taron Johnson.
Right.
That guy played out of his freaking mind today.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just awesome. So those are some of the positives I'm going to take out of it. I'm not going to dwell on the loss at all, because I was like, you know what? The Bills did not play their best game and still only lost by 2.
So I love to throw, like, because as I saw somebody just say, is it really, how can you call it a mafia without any championships? So just to make a comparative argument quickly, and this is just for me, right? This one's just for me. The last time the Dolphins won a playoff game was 7 years before the iPhone was released. There we go. Right? What else matters? You can sit on that, right? You can sit on that. Listen, the Miami Dolphins won a playoff game, and then the next year Enron went bankrupt, right? Like, that's how long ago. The world has changed a lot since 2000, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
This last playoff win was 2000.
I don't think Albert Pujols was in triple digits yet in home runs by the time the last time. No. By the way, Stefan, thank you. Fire. There you go, buddy. Patreon member, just to let you guys know, Patreon members in the description of this video. If you're a Patreon member for more than 3 months, you're getting a free one of these. So,
that's right. So you got to message us your address, because we don't keep your address on file, because we're not creepy like that.
Yeah, we don't keep anything on file.
Yeah, message us your address through Patreon. Go on to Patreon.
He loves that logo, doesn't he?
It is a nice logo. It's a nice logo.
You like that, Stefan?
Yeah. Even our international members, we'll ship them to you. Don't worry about it.
He designed it.
I know. I'm just saying. I know he designed it. Yeah, but all our Patreon members, if you're in Patreon for 3 months or more, we'll send you a shirt. Just get a shirt.
I can't remember Miami going to the Super Bowl. I'm only 42. That's great. I mean, a loss is a lot. Congratulations. Get him in. Victory. Get him in now. Get him in now, because no Miami Dolphins fan can literally look a Buffalo Bills fan straight in the eye and say that your team is built better than the Buffalo Bills right now when both teams are 100%.
Yep.
You can't tell me that.
I had this conversation with my 15-year-old son, because he asked me about the Sasquatch that was sitting next to Ken Dorsey in the booth. And I said, Ryan Wendell looks like he buys like organic man soap, right? And he's got like beard treatments.
He looks like Opie from Sons of Anarchy.
Well, that didn't end well. So let's not go down that road. That didn't end well.
This is so stupid. Why do we talk about this stuff?
No,
it's fine. I hate trash talking Miami fans.
But
this is sports, guys. This fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah,
so
that's the way this is, and it's totally fine, because when we're 4 months down the road, we're going to be looking at a 13, 14, 15 win football team, and I'm pretty confident and comfortable saying that. And Miami's going to be looking at 8 to 9 wins. And that's just the reality of the situation. That team should have beat Buffalo by 40. And, they put 21 on us because they got great field position on a fumble, So, it happens.
You really need to know. I mean, Jermaine's in here along with a bunch of other Miami Dolphin fans. You really need to know that if your team is who you say it is, you should have blown the Bills out today.
Yeah.
And let's not forget a little bit of revisionist history.
Right.
Cody Ford, was it Cody Ford that was drafted before Greg Little?
Little went before Ford.
Little went before Ford?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Little went before.
I couldn't remember, but I know that the amount of cheering that Brandon Beane, who has been a guy who has drafted very, very well, the amount of cheering he did when they took Little.
Miami didn't take Little. Carolina did.
No, what I'm saying is he didn't want Little. So he knows the weaknesses of Little. So get ready for that.
Yeah,
Get ready for
I
that
can't. I
monstrosity.
can't wait. The next Miami game is going to be a bloodbath. I just can't wait.
Yeah,
That's fine. I accept it. We can move on.
But
It's cool.
but there's not a lot we could take away from this loss other than the fact that the Bills need to get healthy. Once they are healthy and they are 100%, not because no team is ever 100%, but once they get more of their regular starters back, I think the next time that these two teams meet, it would be a much, much different story. I don't expect Miami to have a winning record when they play again. But the only unfortunate thing about today is this: the Buffalo Bills are 0-1 in the division. They are now second place in the division. They're at 2-1. Miami is 3-0. Hats off to you. There's no roast tonight, guys, because the Buffalo Bills did not win. So just want to let you guys know all of our socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us. All of our episodes go to iTunes and Spotify. Tonight's show was sponsored by Mr. Rogers Homes in association with DeanBlundell.com. Patreon members, if you've been a member for 3 months, you will get one of these #sports shirts for free. Am I missing anything, Paul? Oh yeah, and all the super chats for tonight. Thank you guys for the super chats. They will be going to the Williams Syndrome Foundation, our sponsor for 2022. In the golf tournament, we're still running the numbers on what we were able to raise for the golf tournament. Paul, did you get your jersey, bud?
I did.
Remind me to pay you for that.
That's that. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it all out.
Let you guys know, Paul was just real quick before we end this bad boy. Paul was looking for a "He Hate Me" jersey, Rod Smart, Las Vegas XFL jersey for years. Could not find one. It's one of the most. It was
I would have accepted a Carolina Panthers Rod Smart jersey. Like I would have accepted.
That's what he was relegated to. Like
I would have accepted that. But a "He Hate Me" Las Vegas Outlaws XFL jersey was like. Gotta get it, right? Gotta get it.
So he put it, he went and got it, and he found the site, and he ordered it, and he got it. And then he actually put it up for auction at the thing. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, the silent auction, I'm going, this guy's been looking for this jersey forever. I'm putting my name down on this list. I'm buying it. I'm like, I gotta get it for him. So
you sure did. You're a good man, Mario. You're a good man.
All right. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen,
hold on. Rod Smart is my cousin. Do you need a jersey?
Oh my God.
You're kidding me. You're kidding. #sports@gmail.com. #sports@gmail.com.
You can find us on any of those socials.
Oh my God. Gaston. Hey,
he loves it.
#sports.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for Paul, I am Mario. This is #sports. #nation. Thank you for being so loyal. For the Dolphins fans that came in here, it was awesome. Thank you guys for coming in here and giving us a few laughs and a few back and forth things. Congratulations that your team is 3-0. You aren't 3-0. You're garbage. And we're out of here. We'll see you later.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth, and right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona? Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions so we can take the next step to your financial freedom here in the Valley of the Sun, utilizing real estate. As always, God bless America and go Buffalo!